Part 42. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 411. Chapter 411. It turns out he doesn't love me too. Mr. Tang, I was confessing to you just now. Why aren't you excited? This is unscientific. I asked you when you fell in love with me. Please hurry up and say something nice to make me happy. Qian Yuman thought that today was the first time for the couple to formally face each other's feelings and warm up their feelings. However, she did not expect that Tanyuj would get another sorry sentence. I don't want to lie to you. Qian Yuman was stunned and looked at him blankly. What are you lying to? Why lie? Why lie when telling her feelings, unless he is telling her something she doesn't like to hear, such as he doesn't love her? Did she do everything on her own initiative? He doesn't love her? Not even a word of like. How is it possible, Mr. Tang? Qian Yuman was dumbfounded, and her mind quickly flashed back to the past when she asked him when he liked her, but he never answered directly. Looking back on the past now, he never said he liked her or said he loved her. Xiao Tian, you. Don't come over here. Qian Yuman took a step back, trying to digest and accept the information she just learned. You're not kidding me. This is not funny at all. Don't you love me? Then why did you marry me? She thought that in order to marry her, he had played some tricks and hid many aspects from her. He just wanted to trick her into the web of his love and capture her heart bit by bit. She fell in love with him, but now he tells her that he doesn't love her. I have never believed in love. Only family affection and friendship can last forever. I love you like a sister. Don't worry, although I don't love you, I will always pamper you, love you, and never let you be. If others bully you, you will not have to worry about food and clothing. Your sister's sister, are you going to sleep with your sister? Qian Yuman stretched out her hand to push Tanyuj away, her body trembling slightly. Little Tian Tian. Don't call me Xiao Tian Tian, Qian Yuman yelled, and Xiao Tian Tian seemed to tell her that from beginning to end, he just regarded her as the sister next door. Just like when he was a child, he loved her and doted on her, but he didn't give her the love she wanted. Qian Yuman couldn't accept it for a moment, so she took a step back and turned back to the bedroom. She quickly closed the door and still forced herself to digest the fact that Tanyuj didn't love her. Going back to the room, she saw the layout of the room. They had stayed here for a whole day, and it was a sweet time that she had never had before. How could you not love me? He must be joking, he must be. The way he loved her was so warm, possessive when he was jealous, and standing up to defend her. When she gradually fell in love with him, he actually told her that he didn't love her at all and didn't even believe in love. I can give her anything but love. Qian Yuman's mood changed drastically in a short period of time. At this moment, she completely realized how ridiculous what she said back then was. She once proudly told Su Warong that love was not necessary in her marriage. As long as they were kind to each other, trusted each other, and lived a normal life, they would be satisfied. Now, she is like a child who longs to be loved, hoping that Tanyuj can like her. This is like the biggest taunt in the world, slapping her in the face to let her know that there are some things that should not be said too fully. Tanyuj outside the door looked at the closed door, sighed slightly and murmured in a low voice. Xiao Tian Tian, you are the light in my once dark life. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Dalby in the World. Chapter 412. Chapter 412. It turns out he doesn't love me. 3. Xiao Tian Tian, you are the light in my once gloomy life, but he never believed in love. Love will make two people in love completely stop interacting with each other. The relatives you cherish the most can be by your side for the rest of your life. But people who love each other will eventually break up unhappy. Qian Yuman hid in her room all night, and Tanyuj had been accompanying her outside. When he saw her coming out, he immediately stepped forward. He asked excitedly and worriedly. Did you sleep well last night? Seeing Tang Yuj, who looked haggard and bearded, Qian Yuman pouted. He clearly cared about her and cared about her. Why didn't he love her? His concept of love is abnormal and must be re-educated. Qian Yuman rushed towards him, hugged him, and put her red lips on him, giving him a passionate and hot French kiss. Feeling the initiative of the person in his arms, Tang Yuj hugged her hard and kissed her back. After the kiss ended, Qian Yuman gave a passionate speech. Mr. Tang, you said you don't love me and don't believe in love. Don't say it too much. Be careful of the day you fall in love with me so much that you can't help yourself. You have to be me and you can't live without me. After all, like me, Kinyi, there are very few beauties like man who are also smart and talented. You are my husband now. You must pamper me and learn to love me in the future. Hearing Qian Yuman's announcement, Tang Yuj breathed a sigh of relief and responded with a bright smile. I will spend my whole life loving and pampering you to make up for the shortcoming of not being able to love you. Humph! Qian Yuman snorted coldly and continued to make a loud declaration of love. Mr. Tang, are you ready? I will try my best to make you fall in love with me in the future. Let the horses come. Now I will love you. First, I will make you unable to leave my body, and then you will miss my warmth, and then you will fall in love with me deeply anyway. In one sentence, I will try my best to make Tang Yuj fall in love with her. This is the conclusion she came to after thinking about it for a long time yesterday. Don't believe in love? She must correct his view of love, make him believe in love, and then fall deeply in love with her. In any case, he is already her husband, the father of her future child, and her companion for the rest of her life. Such a favorable condition, why didn't she take advantage of it and seize the opportunity? She, Qian Yuman, has never failed once she wants to do something, so she doesn't believe that she can't make Tang Yuj fall in love with her. Qian Yuman is in high spirits. Her future goal has changed from being a mother to being a good wife who seduces her husband. The whole room was full of affection. Qian Yuman hugged Tang Yuj and murmured. Lili and Fei Chen should have made it clear soon. Can I go back with you to see your family? As Qian Yuman, Tang Yuj's wife, I will go see your family. I will make arrangements. If you are willing to get up later, we can go. Qian Yuman ran away sleepily, shaking his head quickly. Don't worry about this. I also want to prepare a meeting gift for your grandma and the others. You go back and say hello to your family. I will formally visit your home and bring my father with me to meet the in-laws for the second time. Do you want me to bring him? My sister, lest they see me and think it's Lili, that would be fun. Tang Yuj grinned heartily. I wish I could hold you with one arm and Lili with the other. Before Tang Yuj could finish speaking, Qian Yuman threw the pillow in his hand. Each of us has one, so the twin sisters can tease you as much as you want, right? That's a pretty idea. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 413. Chapter 413. Come and intervene. 1. Just kidding, we can wait for 2 days for Lei and the others to reconcile and go back together, so that they don't know the situation clearly. Thinking of the day she returned, the eldest young master of the Tang family hugged her, and the second young master of the Tang family hugged Lili, appearing in front of the Tang family at the same time. 2 brothers fell in love with twin sisters. What a chance it was! Qian Yuman and Tang Yuj originally planned to go to Tang's house together after Tang Feishan and Qi Lili reconciled. As a result, Tang Yuj's wounds had healed, and the 2 twisted fiancés had not yet reconciled. Since Qi Lili has never seen Tang Feishan, the Chi family has recently gained a regular guest, Tang Feishan, who often sits in the living room of the Chi family and waits for Chi Lilei to go out. Papa Chi was very enthusiastic about his prospective son-in-law who came to report every day. He didn't know the specific reason for their quarrel, but he was quite happy to see the two of them quarreling. Chi Lilei and Tang Feishan were both quiet and harmonious. In the eyes of Chi's father, they were typical representatives of treating each other as guests. Father Chi prefers his eldest daughter and his wife, who are sweet, chatting, laughing, noisy and bickering. Want Chi Lilei and Tang Feishan to quarrel? I don't know how long it will take to wait. In the past, Chi's father firmly believed that waiting for them to quarrel would be better than buying lottery tickets directly, as the chance of winning would be higher. If Chi Lilei and Tang Feishan don't get back together for a day, will Chi and Yuman not go to Tang's house for a day? So the couple agreed to meet their parents tomorrow, so she only had one day to prepare the gift. To this end, Chi and Yuman found a counselor and took Chi Lil and Xian Ying to the mall to pick out gifts. Chi Lilei, who has been staying at home for several days, has no desire to go out. Unless Chi and Yuman begs for her life, she will not come out at all. They had just gone out, and Tang Feishan immediately appeared in front of them. Chi and Yuman looked at Tang Feishan interestingly. She knew that this brother-in-law reported on time at 6 in the morning and left at 10 in the evening. He was as punctual as an alarm clock every day. She couldn't help praising his perseverance. Lilei, you're finally out. Tang Feishan happily greeted her and put a large bouquet of roses in his hand into her arms. Chi Lilei looked at Tang Feishan with cold eyes, and her eyes softened slightly when she looked at the flowers in her arms. All women like flowers, especially those given by someone they like. Even though Chi Lilei has a colder personality than a man, she is still a woman. With Tang Yu's help, Chi and Yuman waited at the door to trick Chi Lilei out of the room, and then gave her flowers to please her. Don't block the way, Chi Lilei still said coolly. Tang Feishan really gave way obediently and did not force it, because it was useless. Use hard force on Chi Lilei and she will let you know that if you use hard force, she never loses. Tang Feishan followed them quietly to the mall without making any noise, becoming a human cash machine and bag carrier. Chi Lilei naturally had no reason to drive him away, but her attitude was still cold and indifferent. The two of them did not speak to each other and watched Chi and Yuman shopping. Chi and Yuman felt anxious for them when she saw how they got along. It is clear that the two people love each other, and they also know that they have misunderstandings, but they do not explain it clearly face to face. We finally met, but not a single word was exchanged, and no communication was spared. It made her emperor not anxious and the eunuchs anxious, so she wanted to drive them aside so that they could open their hearts and speak clearly. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 414. Chapter 414 Come and Intervene too. Chi and Yuman concentrated on choosing gifts, and exchanged ideas with Xian Ying from time to time about which gifts to buy. They also intended to get rid of Chi Lilei, so as to give Tang Feishan a chance to be alone with Lilei. Just when they were about to succeed, an enthusiastic voice sounded in the mall. Lilei, a tall figure in a black suit and white shirt, walked over, followed by a large number of people. The moment Chi Lilei heard someone calling her, she frowned in displeasure because she recognized that the owner of the voice was Mirongye. Mirongye walked up to them with a bright smile and held Chi Lil's hand excitedly. Lilei, I haven't seen you for a long time. I've been busy with acquisitions recently and haven't even looked for you. Have you missed me? Qian Yuman rolled her eyes and glared at Mirongye. He showed up at this time and said such ambiguous words. He was just here to cause damage. Tang Feishan naturally recognized Mirongye. He had had some contact with him before. Last time on the cruise ship, he appeared as the master and often followed Tang Yuj. Ever since he learned that Tang Yuj was the chairman of the Emgrand group, he paid more attention to Mirongye and the others. Chi Lili's eyebrows wrinkled up, and the hand held by him twisted around his elbow like a snake, and quickly moved it to one side, twisting Mirongye so much that he screamed. Lili, be careful, your hand is about to break. Your hand is about to break, Mirongye wailed in pain. The group of people following Mirongye almost had their eyes popped out. Oh my god. Their CEO was actually bullied by a woman. Their CEO is famous for being ruthless and never holding back. Although he is not a cold and serious person, he is also a domineering leader. This is the first time I have seen the president look frustrated. He used to embarrass his competitors. Today Mirongye was inspecting the mall they had just acquired, so he was accompanied by either secretaries or senior executives, and even people who had been with Mirongye for several years. Chi Lili shook off Mirongye's arm hard, glaring at him with cold eyes, and her voice was even colder. If you touch me again or take advantage of me, it won't be that simple next time. Threat, absolute threat. After Chi Lili finished threatening, Mirongye just rubbed his arms and came over with a playful smile, which shocked his subordinates again. Lili, what are you and Sister Manman shopping for? I've taken care of the things you want to buy. You can take whatever you want from the entire mall, Mirongye said angrily, patting his chest, as if he wanted to pack up the entire mall and give it to Kylie. Same as Lei. No need, I will buy it for her. Tang Feishan, who had been silent all this time, spoke up and walked to Chi Lili and looked at him. After a short observation, Tang Feishan recognized that Mirongye was Chi Lili's pursuer, and that he was a fan of listening, and there was even a slight gap between his image and memory. I don't want to buy anything. Even if you want to give it away, I still want to buy it, Chi Lili said indifferently, glaring at Mirongye slightly. You have a group of subordinates following you, do you just want me to be treated like a monkey by them? When Mirongye heard this, he immediately drove all these people away, and then joined them in the shopping process. For this reason, their gift-buying group became a group of 5. On the other hand, Tang Feishan and Mirongye were secretly competing with each other, with similar momentum, neither giving in to the other. Thank you to Ifei who subscribed to the book yesterday and rewarded me with book coins. Your enthusiasm is crazy and I like it very much, ha 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 ha. Moi. So big. Your Majesty is finally done with the update, serious procrastination, the most evil procrastination. No. Advanced lazy cancer. Your Majesty has gone to bed. I promise to go to bed early and get up early tonight to be a healthy and good baby. His Majesty is so handsome, as I have said countless times. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 415. Chapter 415 Come and Intervene 3. Today Qian Yuman's purpose was to reconcile Chi Lili and Tang Feishan. Unexpectedly, the mall she chose was from the emigrant group. She also happened to meet Mirongye, who came to inspect the mall. Chi Lili did not tell Qian Yuman about her relationship with Mirongye, so Qian Yuman just felt that he was too noisy and hindered Tang Feishan and the others from being alone together, and she was thinking about how to drive Mirongye away. Under Chi Lili's calm expression, she felt very uneasy in her heart. She naturally learned about the consequences from her sister, but because of her guilty conscience, she did not dare to see Tang Feishan. I had once felt sorry for Tang Feishan, and I was too guilty to get back together. Moreover, I was not sure whether he would be able to accept the false pregnancy, or if he accepted it, he would look at her differently and think that she was an unscrupulous woman. She has been escaping from reality like a quail these days. Although she knows that she will have to face it sooner or later, she still wants to be as late as possible. She was still hesitating whether to tell Tang Feishan about the false pregnancy, but Mirongye showed up, and her hesitant mood instantly turned into anxiety. She wasn't sure whether Mirongye would tell Tang Feishan about being drunk that night after she threatened him countless times. Now I want to drive him away, but I am afraid of being cornered, so he won't hesitate to speak. Chi Lili seemed to have no reaction at all, but Jian Yuman was worried to death. However, there was a noisy man who was always in their team, harassing Chi Lili from time to time, and even giving Tang Fei a look on his face. No, keep going, Lili will not be able to reconcile with Tang Feishan today, and Murongye must be driven away. I'm going to make a call. Jian Yuman found an excuse and ran to call Tang Yuj directly. Mr. Tang, come quickly. Something happened. Your Xiaoye came out to cause trouble. Take him away quickly. The most direct way is to let Tang Yuj pick him up. Tang Yuj, who was in a meeting, received a call from his wife and said with a smile. Okay, you wait. After hanging up the phone, Jian Yuman immediately returned to the scene. When she arrived at the scene, the two men actually started arguing. I told you, I want to buy this thing, Murongye said, grabbing the side of his wallet. Tang Feishan held the other side, his face still had the signature gentle smile, but his eyes looking at Murongye were a little colder. This is a women's bag? Do you like it? I think you are too drunk to buy it for Lili. So what, I just have to pay. Besides, the whole mall belongs to me. Even if you want to buy it, I'll tell the salesperson that you can't buy it no matter how much money you have. Murongye put his wallet aside with a cold face. At the same time, he pulled the salesperson aside and said that he could only pay for this wallet. Even if you buy it, it depends on whether Lili wants it or not. If you don't want it, it's useless to buy 100 of them. Ha ha ha, do you think you will want Lili if you buy her? Don't forget that you are her ex and no longer her fiancé. Murongye was so angry that he became even more venomous in his words. The fight between the two men was about to break out. The two men didn't want to give up their momentum and said offensive words to each other, just like two children fighting for a toy. Jian Yuman held her mobile phone in her hand and had just finished calling Tang Yuj. When she came back, she saw two men fighting each other and curiously approached Xian Yingzhi. Wait a minute, babies who stayed up late and waited, go to bed. Your Majesty still has 4 more chapters to write. Slow down, go to bed early, don't follow the example of His Majesty who broke his promise and still didn't go to bed early. His Majesty really has to go to bed early tomorrow. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 416. Chapter 416. Come and intervene. 4. Yingzhi, what are they doing? Xian Yingzhi, who is holding a lollipop in his mouth, already speaks non-standard Mandarin, but because he has a lollipop in his mouth, it becomes even more non-standard. Leia just took it to sign the report and felt very grey and greasy. Just when he was about to get rid of the bloating, he was. Before Xian Yingzhi could finish speaking, Jian Yuman reached out and pulled the lollipop out of his mouth, then hit his head with a smile. I can't understand a word you said, can you please speak properly? Xian Yingzhi stared at the candy Jian Yuman snatched and said he died innocently. Xiao Jian, do you want to eat my lollipop? Jian Yuman was speechless for a moment, this kid is so funny. Yingzhi, with your IQ, why on earth did young Master Lan ask you to be his special assistant? Xian Yingzhi raised his chin proudly and said proudly. Because I'm smarter. I made him a lot of money. Jian Yuman remained skeptical. Tell me why they were quarreling. It's not standard to speak Mandarin, so just say it in English. Oh. Just now Leia picked up the wallet and couldn't put it down. When he was about to pay the bill, he was stopped by Murongye on the way, actively going to pay the bill. Fei Shen was naturally unwilling, and he also wanted to pay the bill, but the wallet was the world's. There is only one limited edition in the whole mall, and two people were arguing over who to buy it for. Mr. Lei Xianying obediently told what happened just now in English. What happened was that the two were jealous and vying to please the beauty. Qian Yuman shook his head. Sure enough, Murong exists just to cause trouble. Anyway, every time she saw him, there was no quiet time. She actually wanted to watch them fight. She didn't know who was better at fighting, Tang Feishan or Murong yet. But I heard from Tang Yuj that Murong Ye's fighting ability was even better than him, but every time I saw Li Li beating him, I couldn't tell what was so good about him. When Qian Yuman and Xian Ying understood the situation, the smoke over there was getting thicker and thicker. They were about to fight. Qi Lili, who caused them to fight, did not even throw them away and left with a cold face. You guys have to continue fighting. Qi Lil said this coolly and quickly left the battlefield. Seeing Qi Lili walking away, Murong Ye immediately dropped the wallet in his hand and chased after her. Lili, don't be angry. I didn't mean to quarrel with that Tang Feishan. I was venting my anger for you. If you don't feel comfortable not seeing him, I'll help you get rid of him, Murong Ye said with a smile. Following Qi Lili, she even proposed to join forces to deal with Tang Feishan. You don't need to worry about my affairs. Why don't you care? You are my woman, of course I have to care. This Tang Feishan is your ex. He hurt you so much before, and I feel uncomfortable. All you need is one sentence. I don't care whether he is the vice president or the president of Tang Dynasty Group, I'll teach you a lesson. Murong Ye suggested with a smile, but when he said these words, his eyes were filled with murderous coldness. Murong Ye got angry when he saw Tang Feishan, because he still remembered how sad the day Qi Lili broke up. The cool and handsome iceberg beauty in his mind went to drink because of Tang Feishan's abandonment and got himself drunk. After taking him home, he hugged him and cried for a long time. Thinking about the scene that day, he felt heartbroken. Incredible. Qi Lili clenched the fist in her right hand and punched Murong Ye quickly in the face, striking with her right leg at the same time. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 417. Chapter 417 Come and Intervene 5. Qi Lili clenched the fist of her right hand and punched Murong Ye quickly in the face. She struck out with her right leg at the same time, spinning around and kicking him in the head, knocking him to the ground. Murong Ye didn't expect that Qi Lili would hit her as soon as she asked, without any precautions. She was beaten so hard that she rolled on the ground and burst into tears of pain. There was a hint of anger on Qi Lili's face, and she threatened coldly. What did I tell you? Don't challenge my endurance again and again. I told you that you are not allowed to mention what happened that day, and you are not allowed to take advantage of me or say it's yours. Woman, if you dare to mention anything in front of Fei Chen, believe it or not, I will beat you to the point where you can't take care of yourself. Don't think I don't dare. Lili, I know I was wrong. Murong Ye quickly begged for mercy, as if he was an abandoned little daughter-in-law. When Tang Feishan rushed over, he saw Murong Ye being knocked to the ground in a very embarrassed state, and the expression on his face became happy. Lili, when Tang Feishan came, he had a bag in his hand, which contained the wallet that Qi Lili liked just now. After Murong Ye left, he bought the wallet. Qi Lili saw Tang Fei sinking over, put away her fists, and turned around to leave. Murong Ye finally regained consciousness when his cell phone rang. Brother, where are you going? Murong 11 asked anxiously. What are you doing? I'm chasing your sister-in-law. Murong Ye stepped forward and chased her out, but he couldn't let Tang Feishan continue to pester Lei. Murong 11 shouted angrily. Didn't I ask you to patrol the mall? You went to chase women. Don't you know that you have been very busy recently? I have been busy with work for 3 days without sleeping, and you are still in the mood to go out and pick up girls. You go back to the company immediately and get up. The tens of billions of cases that have been negotiated in a month, the other party plans to cancel and refuse to cooperate. If you cause the group I finally created to go bankrupt because of picking up girls, I will leave you on a desert island to fend for yourself. After saying this, Murong 11 hung up the phone. On the boss's chair opposite Murong 11, Tanyuj sat, nodding with great satisfaction and giving Murong 11 a thumbs up. 11, you performed well and for a good reason. After receiving his wife's instructions, Tanyuj immediately grabbed Murong 11, who was in a meeting with him, and lured Murong Ye back. Murong 11 had a faint smile on his cold face. Of course I have to obey the big boss's instructions. What's more, there is indeed something wrong with the tens of billions case. I just didn't tell you before. Tanyuj stood up in surprise, picked up the tens of billions of case information on the side, and frowned in displeasure after reading it. 11. It's not good for you to always be like this. There is something wrong with the tens of billions case, and you don't tell us. You just said on the phone that you haven't slept for 3 days, maybe it's because of this case. Can you please stop every time something happens? Just take it upon yourself and solve it silently. The 3 of us are one, and we have to take on things together. Don't let our presence be so weak, okay? Murong 11 said with a warm smile in his eyes. I just want to be able to get a little more dividends at the end of the year. Besides, it's all a trivial matter. The matter is almost settled. Murong Ye stared at the phone sadly, weighing in his mind whether to put the company's affairs first for the sake of the woman. As long as I think about not going back, I will face my sister's anger. I might as well go back, but it will be a little later. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 418. Chapter 418 Become My Woman 1. When Murong Ye passed by, he saw Chi Lili rejecting the wallet. He immediately laughed heartily and coldly poured cold water on the side. I don't know who said that Lili I wouldn't accept the things I bought just now. Now. It's £50, and I won't give it to anyone. Lili I doesn't want your things either. Ha 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 ha, Murong Ye gloated, smiling so hard that his eyebrows followed. Happy. Tang Fei glanced at him deeply, and instead of arguing with him, he simply chose to treat him as nothing. Murong Ye did not leave immediately. After 10 minutes, Qian Yuman saw that Murong Ye still had no intention of leaving, so she called Tanyuj and asked her to take this noisy man away quickly. When 5 people were chatting, he would join in the conversation every time. Once they started chatting, it was like a flood opening, and they couldn't stop it. Even Xian Yingzhi couldn't help but stuff the lollipop into his mouth just to make her stop talking. It was really annoying. Tanyuj's call came. He was yelled at by his wife just now, and he also yelled at Murong Ye. Murong Ye, if you don't come back, I will remove you from the position of CEO and let 11 replace you. Let's see what you do. I won't give you a cent in the year-end dividend. If you are not satisfied, you can make a fuss. Anyway, I 11 will ignore you. Tanyuj finally called Murong Ye away with this call. Their team of 5 people returned to 4 people, and their quietness index was 5 stars. What made Qian Yuman sad was that Murong Ye finally left, thinking that the 2 of them could finally talk. In the end, Tang Feishan stayed with Qi Lil quietly and didn't find a good opportunity to explain things clearly to her. In the end, everything was bought, but the 2 people still didn't talk much. This situation continued until they had bought all their things and still had no solution when they returned home. When going back, Qian Yuman insisted that she drive. No one else could resist her, so she had to do it. When they arrived at the location, Qian Yuman and Xian Yingzhi made an agreement. As soon as the car stopped, the 2 flew out and locked the door at the same time, so that Qi Lili and Tang Feishan, who had no time to come out, were locked in. Seeing them locked up inside, the two of them were finally alone together, and they were able to talk clearly. Qian Yuman walked into the house with a smile, but before entering the house, she was stopped by Wang Tianyue. "Manman, I've been sending you text messages these past few days, but you haven't responded to my phone calls." Wang Tianyue had a smile on his face, but his eyes showed loneliness, and he looked at Qian Yuman with some sadness. Qian Yuman looked at Wang Tianyue. He had been so busy these days that he had forgotten about him. She waved at Xian Yingzhi. "Yingzhi, please go in first. I'll wash my hands and prepare something delicious for you later." Xian Yingzhi stayed here just to eat the food he hadn't eaten for a long time. When he heard that there would be food later, he happily ran into the house carrying the gift Qian Yuman had just bought. After Xian Yingzhi left, Qian Yuman walked up to Wang Tianyue, raised her leg and kicked his feet. "Hey Wang Tianyue, you actually lied to me, what are your intentions?" Qian Yuman stepped down very hard, almost as hard as sucking milk. How could Wang Tianyue lie to her when he was obviously not Wang's brother? Just thinking about it made her feel panicked. Qian Yuman kicked Wang Tianyue's foot, causing Wang Tianyue to squat down in pain, hugging his knees with a painful expression, and even cold sweat dripping from his forehead. The situation was far beyond Qian Yuman's expectations. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 419. Chapter 419. Be My Woman Too. Qian Yuman knew how hard he could use his kick. Even if he used the force of his kick, he wouldn't be able to injure him. She thought he was pretending and just wanted to arouse her sympathy, but seeing his face getting more and more ugly, she immediately knew that he was really feeling uncomfortable. "Tianyue, what's wrong with you?" Qian Yuman immediately squatted down and asked with concern. "Is he made of tofu? It hurts like this when kicked." She looked at his gray housecoat and saw blood slowly overflowing from his pants, staining his pants red. There was no way that the red blood appeared for no reason. He was really injured. "What's wrong with you? Is my foot so bad? Why is it bleeding?" Qian Yuman asked anxiously. "Is her foot so bad? It can kick someone to bleed." Wang Tianyue looked up with a pale face and grinned bitterly. Manman was really accurate. He just hit the top of my knee. I had an injury here that hasn't healed yet. Now it seems that the wound has opened again. Injury? Qian Yuman's expression changed. She stretched out her hand to lift up his trousers and saw that the top of his knee was tied with a bandage. A small part of the white bandage was stained red, considering how serious the previous injury was. "Come in quickly and I'll bandage your wound." Qian Yuman helped Wang Tianyue into the house with some difficulty. Wang Tianyue jumped into the house, and less than half of his weight was on her. It took some effort for her to walk in. Helped him to sit down on the sofa mountain, immediately found Wang's first aid kit, and took out the bandages and hemostatic medicine inside. "Pick up your pants quickly, or do you want me to help you?" Before Qian Yuman could finish her words, Wang Tianyue took them off directly. His legs were even prettier than those of women, and any woman would be jealous. "Wang Tianyue, are you an exhibitionist? I just asked you to show the wound," Qian Yuman roared angrily, grabbing a blanket nearby and covering his pink boxers. This boy still likes to wear pink boxers as he did when he was a child. She still remembered that Tianyue, who was 2 years younger than Wang Tiankai, was a stinky hooligan when he was a child. He often ran around in front of her wearing only a pair of pink boxers. "I even once learned to sing an elephant from Crayon Shin-chan, but he was just a naughty kid who was taught bad by Crayon Shin-chan." Every time something like this happened, Wang Tiankai came forward to take him home, and he was criticized all the way home. Unexpectedly, after so many years, he is still the same exhibitionist as when he was a child. Wang Tianyu smiled slightly, not embarrassed at all. He wanted to throw away the blanket, but Qian Yuman glared at him. If you dare to take it off, I will also discount your other foot, she threatened with the cotton swab in her hand, which had no deterrent effect at all. Wang Tianyu sat obediently, and Qian Yuman treated his wounds with satisfaction, very carefully. Wang Tianyu's wound was not deep. It appeared that the wound had only appeared in the past few days. It was just a bit long and could not be moved at will. The wound could easily open. She applied the medicine carefully, frowning. How did you get your injury? It looks so serious. You don't know how to fight with others. You were stabbed by someone. Looking at the wound, it looks like it was caused by a knife. I said it was your husband who hired someone to kill me, do you believe it or not? Wang Tianyu said with a smile. Qian Yuman stopped what she was doing and gave him a big white eye and a look of disgust. End of this chapter. After the flash marriage, the character collapsed. Author, Daobi in the World. Chapter 420. Chapter 420 Become My Woman 3. Qian Yuman stopped what she was doing and gave him a big look. You are his younger brother, how could he be willing to let you go? Besides, if he kills you with a gun, why bother using a knife? Wang Tianyu's eyes dimmed slightly because of her words, and the smile on his face disappeared. I'm not his brother. Qian Yuman took the bandage, carefully wrapped it around the wound, and asked with great confusion. What are you doing? Is there some misunderstanding between you two brothers? Why has he become Tangyuj and no longer Wang Tiankai? Ask him yourself. Wang Tianyu's voice became colder, and he obviously didn't want to mention him at all. After a brief communication, Qian Yuman discovered that these two brothers, who had a very good relationship when they were children, are now in a very bad relationship. As long as they mention what happened 11 years ago, their expressions will become stiff. Tangyuj was sad and silent, while Wang Tianyu just spoke with a sullen face and heartbreaking words. What happened in the first place? She really wanted to know, and tried to ask several times, but failed to find out the reason. Instead, she was driven away mercilessly by Wang Tianyu. I think you are not concerned about whether I am injured or not, but about your husband. Wang Tianyu stood up angrily and yelled angrily. God bless. Why are you yelling? I won't mention it. Look at your wound. Qian Yuman looked at the bandage that had just been tied but was untied before it was tied, and blood started to flow again. Wang Tianyu's expression was stiff, he turned his head and sat down angrily. Qian Yuman leaned over and continued to help him deal with it, complaining about this in her heart. The reason for getting angry with her was not because he was Tangyu's younger brother, so she didn't bother to care about him. Although they were childhood sweethearts and grew up as neighbors, their relationship could only be considered okay. The four of them often played together when they were children, and she liked to stick to her brother Wang the most. The reason why Wang Tianyu doesn't please her is that he is too naughty. He has been naughty and disruptive since he was a child. He makes her break down and go berserk every day, but there is nothing he can do about her. He didn't dare to offend Qi Lilii, because if he offended Qi Lilii, she would be beaten in pain for several days, so he liked to provoke Qian Yuman, who was often bullied by him when he was a child. After treating his wounds again, Qian Yuman glanced at him and saw that he was much less angry. He thought of an important thing, narrowed his eyes slightly, and deliberately increased the strength in his hands. Wang Tianyu screamed in pain and looked at her inexplicably. What are you doing? Are you treating my wound or aggravating it? Qian Yuman glared at him angrily, took out alcohol cotton and pressed it on him, and asked him angrily. Wang Tianyu, do you think I'm a fool? You dare to pretend to be your brother to get along with me? Don't you think this is too much? What is your purpose of pretending to be your brother? Wang Tianyu pulled back his foot in pain, covered his wound, and looked at her inexplicably. What nonsense are you talking about? When did I pretend to be him? Why should I pretend? Wang Tianyu was sophistical and refused to admit it. Qian Yuman was also angry, and got angry at his waist, insisting on a good fight. You also said that you are not pretending to be Brother Wang. When did you deny it when I called you Brother Wang so many times after we met again? Think about it for yourself when I called you Brother Wang when I was a child. And how naughty and troublesome you are, how can you deny it? It's worth calling me brother. End of this chapter.